Hi friends, and welcome back to the Photoshop Basics Beginner Video Training Series, Chapter 3. In this chapter, we'll see about layer fundamentals, irregular selection tools, and crop tool. So let's start with the layer fundamentals. Layers are the basic building blocks in Photoshop. They make Photoshop very powerful and versatile in handling various tasks inside Photoshop. Before we go to Photoshop and play with the layers, let's see what are the possibilities we have using layers in Photoshop. We can create and delete a layer or multiple layers. We can duplicate layer. We can transform layer. And last, layer palettes, where we can hide the layers or we can do all the steps in it. So let's move on to the Photoshop. Now we are back into Photoshop. Let's create a new document. Okay, and I will use the same selection tool. Let's select, click and hold on and select the Elliptical Marquee tool and hold on Shift to create exactly round shape of the selection. And the same process we'll be doing as we did in the one of our exercise before while creating the hospital building, in that we just go to the edit and then fill the color. So we have done the selection, but before filling the color, what we'll do this time is we'll go here and create a new layer. So I've created, can you see we are on the new layer. So now we'll go into the edit, fill, select the color, whatever color I want. Let me select the color red and click OK. So we have a new layer with a red sphere. So let's move the selection, the same selection, to other side. Now we'll create a new layer, again a new layer. Again we'll go to the edit, fill, color, and I'll pick green color this time. Okay. So again I'll move the selection. I can take a new layer, go into the edit, fill, again click on color, so the color picker will come up, and then we'll click blue color, and then we'll fill the blue color. Now I'll go and click on the move tool. We have to deselect the selection we have done. So what I'm going to do is going to select and deselect it. So now I'm free to move with the objects. You can see how we can move different layers. Okay. So now how it works. Let's see how we can put the layers forth and back, how we can play with them. See here, we have the three layers. So this is the red. We can see here the thumbnail. Okay. You can increase or decrease the size of the thumbnail by going to the palette option, and you can make the bigger size if you want to see them clearly what is happening. And for the time I'll go back to the panel option and make it to like the smallest one. Okay, you can select the objects, like if I want to select green sphere and move somewhere else, I'll click on the layer 2 because the layer 2 has the green object, so I'll move that here. If I want to move this blue object maybe to this corner, I will click on this and move here. Okay, and if red, I'll click onto the first layer where the red, you can say circle or you can say sphere is there, and then I can click and move. Okay, let me bring all of them near to each other. Select all of them by holding Control one by one, and then you can use some layer distribution or layer aligning tools which are at the top, or you can say features which are at the top. Let me click here so they come and just gets aligned in a proper way, and you can see they are aligned exactly straight. So these are the options which are very helpful. You can check them and use as accordingly as per your need. Okay, so now they are very much aligned correctly into the document. So let's do something else, like if I want to bring them near or maybe top of each other, how you can do that is if you want to select a layer 1 and move to the green sphere, you can select the layer 1 and go and move there. Okay, I just want this sphere, red sphere, to be top of the green layer. So how you can do is select this layer 1 and put at the top of everything, or you can say top of the green layer. This time I will move the blue layer, and the blue layer is top of everyone. I just want the red layer to be top of everyone. Move this at the top, so the red is at the top of everyone. So this is the way you can move the layers top of each other, or you can say place the layers top of each other, depending what kind of overlapping you want. Okay, one more feature I just missed while creating the layers. You should name the layers. So let's see how we can name the layer. You can double click the layer on the name and you can name this is a red sphere. So now we have named them. Okay, so now let's move on to some other interesting example. I would advise you, before you start using layers, practice this exercise. It's really very simple. If you miss any step, please go back to that part of the video and see, and I'm sure that it will be very helpful for you to understand the fundamentals. One of the most critical chapter in the training, because the layers are the basic building blocks for any kind of designing into Photoshop. So let's move on to some other interesting example with the layer fundamentals. Open a recent document. So this is a document created by me, and if you want, you can use it. So now if I click here, we can just move that layer. Can you see? I can move this layer. Okay, fine. But you can't move this. You can only move this layer. Okay. But if I go here and click to the second layer, there's the green layer, then I can start moving this layer. I can't move the cube anymore. And if I select the last layer, I can just move the background. Okay. There is one more way to auto select the layers. So if I click on this, it will auto select the layer. So if I click here, now this layer is selected. If I click here, this layer is selected. If I click here, this layer is selected. So you can see here in the layer palette, this one is a layer palette, and you can see here how it selects. I will do it again. Click here, it selects this. Click this. You can see that it's by accidentally selecting something else, because you have to precisely place your cursor, or you can say mouse, on exactly the layer which we are going to select. So this is what the grid I want to move. Okay. I rarely use this option because it can move accidentally the layers which we don't want. Okay, so I will just put this off. So now you have seen how to select the layers from the layer palette and from the auto selection option. So the next will be how to duplicate the layers. Here we can select the layer, and you can click and drag the layer to this page button, the small page button. Click and drag and release the mouse, so you get a copy of that. So I will move that copy. Can you see now we have the duplicates of this? Okay, let's make one more duplicate of the same. Click. You got one more duplicate of this. We have 3 copies of the cube, and they are in different layers. Okay, So now what the good thing about layers in Photoshop is that you can move them individually, independently with the other objects on the other layer. Okay. So next thing we will see here, we have already understood about creating the layers, selecting the layers, and this duplicating the layers. So now we'll see about transforming the layers. I mean, you can scale the layer, you can rotate the layer as per your need. So let's select this one and go to the edit menu, free transform, and then you get the transform tool here, and you can click to any of the corner or any of the handles, and then you can click and drag as you want. You can increase the size or decrease the size of the layer. But if you can see it's scaling the layer improportionately. How you can proportionally scale the object? Let's see that. So I'll say Control Z, and then I will click on Shift and Alt as a shortcut key and click here, and you can scale it down with a proportion. Go to the Edit, Free Transform, and here you can scale or rotate the object, or you can move the object. Okay, so like if you want to move the object, you have to be inside this area of the layer transform, and then you can move the object. If you go outside of this area, you could be like rotating the object. If you see, the icon is changed to like a semicircle, giving the indication of rotation. Grab any of the handles or the corners of the transform. What you can do is you can scale the object whatever size you're looking for. So if you see, the scaling is working very improportionately. If you would like to work it as in proportionately, what you have to do, see what I'm doing here. You can go here and lock this, and now you can see it scales the object proportionately. So in the option bar, you can go and lock to maintain the aspect ratio. Okay. There is one more way to scale it proportionally, is to hold on Shift and Alt, and then you can scale proportionately. Suppose if I keep the size up to this, once I am happy with the scaling, or you can say transformation of the object, I have to press Enter. Okay. If I am not happy, I could press Escape. So the layer transform is it's a process. Unless you don't press Enter, the process doesn't complete. For example, if I go back, Control Z, and if I press shortcut key Control T, and I scale it down proportionally by holding Shift and Alt, and if I go back to the Move tool, it will always ask me, apply the transform. Would you like to apply the transform, the changes which you have done to the layer by using the transform tool, or you can say free transform? Would you like to apply the changes? Yes, I will apply the change. Or otherwise you can press don't apply, or you can press cancel to make a decision. So yes, I want to apply, I will press Enter. Okay. If I press Escape during the transformation process, it will remove all the type of current transformation which you have applied to the layer. Keep this layer here, and let's select this layer. You can just right click and select the layer. This is one more way to select the layer. You can just right click, go on top of that layer, and just right click and XYZ copy to. You can select that, which is the topmost layer. So you can see it is at the top, so it can overlap. So other objects, other layers gets overlapped. Let me make this a little bit bigger. So again, Control T, make it bigger. And I just want to a little bit rotate this, and maybe I will place it here. Okay, press Enter. So what I need to do is I just want this layer to come in front of this layer. So how you can do that? Select that layer, right click, click on that, click here, and drag and bring top of all. So now this layer is at the top. So you can see, if you want this small cube to come top of all of them, you can just select that cube and drag and take it up, and now it can come top of everyone. So you can take this and keep it back. See here, and this here. So this is how you can duplicate the layers, move the layers, rotate the layer, scale the layers. Now the remaining part is to understand a little bit about the layer palette, how useful it is. Layer palette comes with a lot of features. However, we'll touch few of them for now. Can you see the eye icons? Let them click so you can visible and invisible the object, or you can say layer. If you want, you can do that. Okay. Sometimes we want to lock some object or some layer. Suppose the background layer, which I don't want to use, so I can lock here. You can see the lock all. So it will lock the all functionality of that layer. Okay. Even if you want to lock only the transform, you can lock transform. Okay. If you want to lock the usage of brush to this layer, if you want to lock the pixels, so the features which are altering the pixel is not going to work. Okay. Even you lock the transparency. So the best thing right now we'll do is we'll lock all, so that you can't move that, and you can see could not use the move tool because the layer is locked. Okay. Another feature for the layers are to linking the layers. Like if you select one layer, and if you want 2-3 layers should move simultaneously together, how you can do the selection of the multiple layer is pressing Control or Shift. When you press Control, you can select any of the layers, but if you select pressing Shift, it will select all the in-between layers, and this is how you can select 3 layers. Now you can move 3 layers together, but if you link them by using this option here, link layers, that will, if you can see the icon appears here, the chain icon, it means that either if you move any of the layer, suppose if I select this layer, it will move all the layers together. Select this one, see it moves all of them together. This one, see it moves all of them together. If you unlink them, again go click whatever the layers you want to unlink. Suppose we want to unlink these 2 layers, or maybe we have to unlink all of them. Press Control to select one by one, or if you want to select in at one stretch, you select the first layer and the last layer. It will with holding Shift, and then you can unlink them. So still you can move them because they are selected. So I will go and click in any of the layers, and now I can move them freely in the space separately. Another feature is like you can select all the layers. Suppose if you want to make a group of them, and then also you can control individually, and you can move together also. So select all the layers, and you can press Ctrl G as a shortcut key, or you can use this folder icon here, create a group, a new group. So it will create a new group, but it's not going to place it. You have to drag and place inside that. Okay. The good way will be to select all of them together, and you can bring them and drop onto the group. It will create a group. The same way as we do duplicating the layers, for grouping you have to select all the layers and drop here. Okay. Or otherwise the best way would be to use the shortcut key, that is Ctrl G. So now you can, at one click, we can hide all the layers which are grouped together, and then you can see the layers are inside, and you can just open and close and check them anytime in the layer palette. And even you can do is you can hide them individually inside if you want, or you can move them individually inside if you want, or even you can move together all of them. This is how the group works. And if you would like to ungroup them, go into layers, ungroup. So the layers will be ungrouped. Now we'll see another feature, that is the fill, or we can say opacity. They are giving the same effect, but technically they are different. That we'll see later on. But right now we can use them to make them a semi-transparent. So the opacity will control the visibility in an order of like 1 to 100. Or you can use the shortcut key like numbers, like if you press 1, so it will be 10. Again, if you press 1, it will remain 10. 2 for 20. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and last button is 0. So you can see now it's 100% visible. So now how to delete the layers? This is one the simple way is to select any of the layer or press delete. The layer will be deleted. Or the other way, I'll go back. And the other way, you can just drag them and drop it to the delete box. It will delete. Okay. So these are the way you can delete the objects. There are some special effects, like these are the layer effects, which we will see in later chapter. And you have the layer mask, which is a very powerful feature in layers. Another one is you have the layer adjustments. We'll see this again in some coming chapters. Okay, we have covered the basics about the layers, and that will be very helpful us to do some exercise in the next coming class. See you then. Bye. Take care.